You know that feeling you get right before a big thunderstorm. The air gets all heavy and still. The birds go quiet. The little hairs on your arms stand up. For the entire human race. That moment was a Tuesday back in 2016. Most people were just going about their day, worrying about bills, or the election, or what to make for dinner. They had absolutely no idea that deep inside a fortified military compound in the Colorado mountains, a clock was ticking down to zero. In our last episode, we introduced you to Project NOAH. This was a secret experiment that turned 12 death row inmates into immortal, telepathic monsters. The scientists in charge thought they had it all under control. They had electrified cages, sedation protocols, and heavily armed guards. They were so sure they were in charge. But they forgot one critical thing. The 12 weren't just caged animals. They were a hive mind. And for weeks, they had been waiting, listening, and planning. Tonight, we witness the end of the world. And it doesn't happen with a nuclear bang. It happens with a power outage, a single loose bolt, and a massacre that spills out of those mountains and swallows an entire continent. Welcome to Episode 2, The Breach. This is the story of the first 90 days. It all starts with a storm. A massive blizzard slams into the Colorado facility, knocking out the primary power grid. The backup generators kick in, but there's a flicker. A momentary lapse in all the security systems. It's the exact moment the 12 have been waiting for. They don't attack all at once. They're strategic. The first move comes from Subject 0, the very first viral, Timothy Fanning. He uses his telepathic influence to confuse a technician, projecting a simple hallucination. The technician thinks he sees a problem with a door seal on one of the containment units. He goes to check it. He opens the breach. In an instant, the entire facility turns into a slaughterhouse. Now, these aren't the slow, shambling zombies you see in The Walking Dead. The virals, as they're called, are impossibly fast. They move like blurs. They can leap 20 feet into the air. They're strong enough to rip a solid steel door right off its hinges. And they are ravenously hungry. Within minutes, the entire scientific team is dead. The guards are completely overwhelmed. The sterile white corridors of Project Noah are painted red. But amidst all this carnage, there's one person who isn't attacked. Brad Wolgast, the FBI agent who brought the young girl, Amy, to the facility in the first place. He immediately realizes what's happening. He grabs Amy and he runs for his life. As they flee out into the snowy night, they look back just in time to see the facility burning against the horizon. The 12 are loose, and they are heading for the cities. The military tries to cover it up, of course. They issue vague statements about a terrorist attack or a biological leak. They set up roadblocks. They ground all flights. But you can't quarantine a telepathic virus. Here's how the infection works. The original 12 are the alphas. When they bite someone, they don't just kill them. They turn them. The victims become what are known as the many lesser virals, who are now psychically enslaved to the will of the alpha who turned them. It's a pyramid scheme of death. One alpha turns 10 people. Those 10 then turn 100. Those 100 turn 1,000. Within 48 hours, Denver is gone. The virals hit the city at night. First, they cut the power. Then, they hunt. The descriptions in the book are absolutely terrifying. People barricading themselves in their homes, listening to the screams of their neighbors. The constant sound of shattering glass. The inhuman shrieks of the virals echoing through the suburbs. The infection spreads like wildfire along the interstate highways. It moves faster than the news can even report it. Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Kansas City. One by one, the lights of America's cities go out. The government tries to fight back. They deploy the National Guard. They bomb the bridges. They even consider using nuclear options. But the virals are smart. They hide during the day. They sleep in sewers, in basements, in any dark place they can find. And then at night, they rise in the millions. By day 30, the United States government has effectively ceased to exist. The president is gone. The military's chain of command is completely broken. The power grid has failed nationwide. The world has gone dark. The only survivors are the ones who ran to the most remote places they could find. High up in the mountains, deep in the deserts, or out on isolated islands. We follow Wolgast and Amy. They are constantly on the run, always moving. They see the collapse of civilization firsthand. They see the so-called refugee zones, these massive camps set up by the government that just became all-you-can-eat buffets for the virals. They see the highways clogged with millions of abandoned cars, a steel graveyard stretching for miles. They quickly realize the hard truth. There is no rescue coming. Wolgast takes Amy high into the mountains, to an old, abandoned summer camp, a place where the air is thin and the nights are freezing cold. He knows he can't save the world. He can only save this one little girl. As they settle in for the long winter, the last of the radio signals stop. The internet is dead. The satellites go silent. The human race, which had ruled the planet for thousands of years, has been dethroned in less than 3 months. The era of man is over. The era of the viral has begun. This is where the first part of the story, the passage, ends, with silence. Wolgast and Amy are alive, hiding out in the mountains. But down below, in the ruins of the cities and suburbs, the monsters rule the night. The 12 have divided the continent up into territories. They are building their armies. They are settling in for a long, long reign. But the story doesn't end here. It jumps. In our next episode, we are going to fast forward, not just a few months or a few years. We are jumping 100 years into the future. We'll see what the world looks like after a full century of darkness. We will meet the descendants of the survivors, new civilization living behind massive walls, under the constant glare of stadium lights, terrified of what waits in the dark. The breach was just the beginning. The colony is where the real horror begins. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the jump to the future. And tell me in the comments if the grid went down and monsters appeared tonight. Where is the first place you would run? I'll see you in the future.